From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, allegations of biryani vessels, huge ones, filled with metal objects being handed over to the Chief Minister. Then there are allegations of bags of cash, huge bags of cash, being carried to the UAE and being given to the Chief Minister. The prime accused in the gold scam case that all of Kerala and now the country is talking about is not holding back. Her name is Swapna Suresh and the truth in the allegations must be investigated. But in the interim, isn't the morally right thing for Pinarayi Vijayan, Chief Minister of Kerala, to do is to resign? Let's debate.
5th of July 2020, a whopping 30 kilograms of gold was smuggled into Kerala via diplomatic channels. The key accused, Swapna Suresh, was arrested. And the plot thickened as links to the former Principal Secretary to the Kerala Chief Minister emerged. But now, for the first time after recording her statement before a judicial first-class magistrate court in Kochi, prime accused Swapna Suresh has leveled charges directly against the sitting Chief Minister.
The biryani being edible, a food item, it has a minimum weight that everybody knows. So it's got some unusual weight, and these biryani vessels have been taken from the Consul General's residence at Jawahar Nagar to the Cliff House without any security check, without any protocol arrangements, upon the instruction, the time and the date fixed by Shiv Shankar.
The BJP wants the Chief Minister to step down from his post.
A statement from the then leader of opposition, Mr. Ramesh Chennithala. How did he know there were vessels containing biryani? My charge is Ramesh Chennithala has a lot to answer. And my question to the Congress party is, why don't you tell us what you know?
But the Kerala Chief Minister, instead of stepping down, has dug in his heels. He's calling the allegations vendetta. The left parties have thrown their weight behind Pinarayi Vijayan.
You see, these issues were raised 2 years ago. Chief Minister of Kerala, then also, Comrade Pinarayi Vijayan, wrote to the Prime Minister, central government, that is a very serious matter. You, that is central government, designate the investigation to whichever investigating agency you deem fit.
The Congress also wants him out. They're protesting. But they're also questioning the BJP.
They are shielding the culprits and the Chief Minister. Why the central agencies were not questioned the Chief Minister? Even before giving this 164 statement in the court, Swapna Suresh mentioned earlier all these things to the inquiry officer. Nothing happened.
It's a three-way political fight, but the only question is, should Pinarayi Vijayan step back until the investigation is complete? Let's debate.
We have Tom Vadakan of the BJP, spokesperson Srijit Panikar. From Thiruvananthapuram, Savio Rodriguez. We have Vivek Srivastav. Of the left, Mohammad Fakhruddin Ali, political observer and author from Kozhikode in Kerala. And C. Rajashekharan from Chennai. He's a lawyer, and I'm expecting Ramesh Chennithala of the Congress to be joining us in a couple of minutes. Now, Mr. Fakhruddin Ali, this is corruption of the worst order. Worst order. And the allegations are not against any Tom, Dick and Harry, they're against the Chief Minister of Kerala and his family. And the allegations can neither be confirmed nor denied, but it needs to be investigated. Now, if bags full of cash are being sent to the Chief Minister, you can't dismiss the allegations. I think Pinarayi Vijayan is wrong. He's just trying to dismiss the allegations, hoping they'll go away. They won't go away, Mr. Ali. They won't go away.
We can dismiss the allegation because it is raised by a tainted person. She was contradicting herself. When she was arrested, she had a different opinion. She had a different viewpoint about the Chief Minister and the government. And an audio clip of her was leaked when she was in the prison. In that particular audio clip, she was allying the central agencies for compelling her to give statement against the Chief Minister and the government officials. Now she is coming with a different
No,
kind of argument,
but she has said that there's a
point
bag full of cash. She said there's a bags full of cash which are brought to the UAE consulate, and even after the cash was found, while scanning the baggage, it was handed over to somebody assigned by Shiva Shankar, who then delivered it to the Chief Minister. Now, if she...
Do you have the corroborative evidence? You have the visuals. She can say anything. She did different things.
But how many other occasions would bags of cash be delivered to the Chief Minister, bypassing the customs?
See, that need to be investigated. But when she is making such an allegation against the Chief Minister, he is the most popular leader in Kerala.
No, you're saying no allegations can be made.
She can make allegations, but there should be corroborative evidences. Then only a media person, an international media person like you can make credible.
Tom Vadakan, the basic response is she's not a credible person. She's not a credible person, and you shouldn't hang on to her words.
She contradicted herself.
Under 160, if somebody swears under 164 and is before a first-class magistrate, and she makes all this information into public domain, she knows what she's talking about. And we are not saying that what she has said is the end of it. Investigation is on. It's work in progress. But do tell me something. Investigating agencies are being sabotaged. One, they were not... CBI's privilege was withdrawn. The cases were filed against ED. And there was also situations where they were threatened. Swapna Suresh was threatened in the bank, in the jail. There was all sort of fraudulent documents prepared.
Who invited central agencies here? But later on, the intentions became doubtful. Yeah.
If there is no cooperation from the state government, no agency can function if you sabotage it. And today, what was the reason for a cabinet meeting to commission, extend the commission, Mohandas Commission, to inquire into it? Isn't that an attempt to stop any parallel investigation? Why are you doing this? The question that Kerala is asking the Chief Minister.
Because there is a plot behind it. There is a plot behind it. That's why.
I know there may be plots like hell, but biryanis don't arrive. Biryanis don't arrive in Cliff House without protocol clearance, no security check.
Evidence. She can say anything.
164, nobody will dare. Maybe people like you can give evidence under 164, but you can go to jail if you are.
But isn't it all a bit ironical? I ask, Vivek, and don't mind, but please come into the debate with Srijit. Isn't it ironical that you have a situation where a party which says it only works for the masses, which allow me to complete, which works only for social equality, which says, at least says it's a Marxist party. Operational word being says it's a Marxist party, is in a situation where this biryani full of gold and bags full of cash, smuggling of goods. What is this? This is part of some of your Marxist philosophy. This is contravention of Section 11 of the
Nothing.
Customs
It is
Act.
simply
It is
there is a
smuggling of goods.
publicity
Who
seeking-
smuggles in public interest?
there is a-
Do
there is a
people smuggle in
publicity-
public interest,
there is a-
Vivek?
there is a
Do
publicity
people
seeking
smuggle in
lady.
public interest?
There is a publicity seeking lady and she is trying to, save herself. She is in cohorts with the BJP leadership. Why didn't you ask the same question to Mr. Narendra Modi when the Gujarat riots took place, that he should have resigned? Why were you silent then? The whole party is behind
Tom.
the chief minister.
Tom.
The chief minister is honest.
I
He
don't
has had
know
an
what this
impeccable record as a
comparing
youth
apples
leader.
and oranges.
Mr.
Here
Vadakan,
the chief minister
Mr.
who is
Vadakan,
corrupt, who
no,
has
it's
been
not apple and
exposed.
oranges.
Biryani is
Thankfully,
arriving in
you
his
said
house
biryani
with gold
containers.
inside.
गोलगप्पे में
Gold
सिक्के नहीं
inside.
बोले, शुक्र करिए.
आप
Thankfully, you
smuggler
didn't
के
say there
लिए
were
क्या
coins and
वकालत
golgappas.
कर रही हैं?
Biryanis and
एक
rasmalais and rasagullas.
smuggler के लिए
I mean,
क्या
what
वकालत
nonsense are you
करने
guys
आए?
coming down to?
आप CPM का लीडर कहते हैं अपने आप को.
अरे
और
सर, the
smugglers को
enforcement
आप
directorate का
वकालत
जितना
आप
मर्जी
देते
जोर
हैं.
लगा लीजिए,
और आप TV
you are
पर
not going to be
आकर
proving
वकालत दे
anything.
रहे हैं
2
smugglers के
years,
लिए.
2
अरे
years,
बिरयानी
sir,
किसके
2 years
लिए
have
भेजा
passed.
गया?
Vadakan Saab, 2 years have passed, and you have not been able to prove a word. You are simply trying to show us in poor light. That's about it.
तो करो, थोड़ा शांति से
अरे
इंतजार
सर,
तो करो.
2 साल हो गए
सब
सर.
कुछ एविडेंस
साहब, 2 साल हो गए. आप 2 साल और बिता लीजिए, फिर 2 साल और बिताइए. The public of Kerala is with us. They voted us to power.
Election, no.
But
you-
is there some pressure? Tom, is there some? Tom, can I come in, please? And Tom, I want to ask you and Srijit this question. Tell me, you can confide in me. You can confide in me. Is there some pressure being put? Is there some pressure being put? You want to confide in me? You want to confide first? Vivek, why don't you respond when I refer to Srijit? I know you are trying to join the BJP, but I'm asking Tom Vadakan the question. Now the question being, Srijit,
No, why should I?
is there? I don't know. That you know. I don't know why you want to join the BJP. The question is.
He has nothing to answer.
The question being.
is just full of conspiracies.
All right.
Trying to topple a duly elected government.
All right.
He's so jealous of Pinarayi
Nehru
Vijayan, what can I do?
Nehru tried with
Mr.
EMS
Vadakan is a jealous
Namboodiripad.
man.
Nehru did
Mr.
with
Vadakan
EMS
feels-
Namboodiripad. Yeah,
why
they
has
did. He did try to topple and topple the duly
forget about
elected
Nehru.
government.
Nehru is long back.
Well, long back.
Mr.
How do you
Vadakan
not?
is
You
full
don't
of
like it when I
inferiority
remind you of
complex, I
Nehru, is
can't
it?
help
Huh?
Mr. Vadakan needs to get out of his inferiority complex. मैं क्या बोलूं? Vadakan साहब इतना inferiority complex में what do I say?
Inferiority
He's so
complex. अंग्रेजी आपको सिखाऊंगा
he's so
मैं.
full of jealousy.
Inferiority
He
complex
hates
का
Pinarayi Vijayan.
meaning क्या है?
You know, all his
कहाँ है?
hatred for
आप किस
Pinarayi
दुनिया से उतर आए
Vijayan,
हैं?
all his
Which world
hatred
are
for
you?
Pinarayi
Which
Vijayan,
world
Okay,
are
now-
you?
all his
Are you
inferiority
gone off your-
complexes.
Now you really believe Srijit, do you really believe the chief minister could be so naive? 1 minute, Srijit and Rajshekhar. Srijit, you think the chief minister is going to sit at home and say, please bring a bag full of cash and a biryani vessel full of gold coins to me? I mean, if he's going to be corrupt, is he going to be corrupt like this? You really think so? Isn't it a bit laughable?
Arnab, on the face of it, it is laughable. But if you go into the finer details, the allegations against the Kerala CM are very, very serious in nature because it suggests that an anti-national plot was hatched with the involvement of the CM himself, his family, his cabinet, his close aides, and a foreign consulate. So that's where it gets all the more complicated and becomes all the more serious. Now, everybody who supports the Kerala government and the CPM, including the CM himself, has been reminding us that it was the Kerala government that invited the central agencies to the state for a coordinated probe, that they did not have anything to fear about it. Now, we must also remind them back as to what happened thereafter. As and when the agencies started summoning people in the government, like his principal secretary, then Cabinet Minister Mr. K.T. Jalil, then Assembly Speaker Mr. Sri Ramakrishnan, the government started acting weirdly. Why do we have to remind them of it now? And what did they do now after the second turn of the allegations came? 3 things happened. One, the blanket approval, or at that point of time, what they did is that the blanket approval for the CBI probes were withdrawn. An FIR was registered against the ED. A judicial commission was appointed to probe against all the central agencies. A case was fought in the High Court against the ED, and the state even made.
But she made the same allegations. Sorry to intervene. Did she not? 1 minute, Srijit, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Did she not make the same allegations to the customs in July 2021? And isn't it a fact that all the central agencies have had no breakthrough in the allegations since then? Also, is there a conspiracy angle? Can that be dismissed when November 2020, there was an audio clip which emerged where the narrator implied that the investigators had coerced Swapna Suresh into not giving evidence against Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan?
At that point
and there is a voice recording of PC George, allegedly, and he's claiming that Swapna had visited the guest house in February and handed him a letter explaining all that happened. My question is, why are all the allegations coming now 5 months later? Why is it all suddenly coming 5 months later?
Now, let it be inquired. If there was a political conspiracy behind this, then the best time for that political conspiracy to surface was immediately.
But the gold was seized 23 months back. But the gold was seized 23 months back.
Absolutely. But who threw?
What has been going on for 23 months?
No, Arnab, who threw a spoke in the wheel of it? I was saying that even
you tell me who?
So brazenly. No, I'm saying.
Who put a spoke?
Brazenly said.
Ramesh Chenitala says the BJP is protecting Pinarayi Vijayan.
No. I'm saying that the state so brazenly leveled an allegation that the central agencies were demoralizing the government officials through their probe. Now, what did they do? 3 very specific things today.
But it's been 2 years, 23 months since the gold was seized.
No, what happened in 1 day? Forget 23 months. What happened in 24 hours? After
what happened?
Lashed out at the CM yesterday, the co-accused in that case was taken into vigilance custody, allegedly without issuing a prior notice.
But I'm asking you, and I'm not being. I don't know. 1 minute. I'm asking you. 1 minute. Okay, now let's debate this. Okay, let's have all of it. Savio and Tom and Srijit on one side. The debate is really hotting up. My question is: there is NIA, ED, Customs Department, Income Tax Department, Department of Revenue Intelligence. They've all probed different angles of the case. Gold is found 2 years back. At this point, do we have to depend only on Swapna Suresh's sudden comment to make this an issue? Where is the other evidence?
No, Arnab, to expose the whole network, we have to find out the people at the origin and also at the destination. Now, who are these people? No one.
So you're starting from the top.
Faisal Farid is detained in a different country and the government has to give permission for intelligence or Indian inquiry agencies. The second one is Jamal Hussain Al-Sabi, who was a diplomat who is having that protective cover. So without that government permitting our investigative agencies...
A lot of people calling in from Kerala tonight on the debate. A lot of people calling in from Kerala right now, calling into our newsroom with questions. I'm not opening for calls. Fakhruddin is smiling. Why, Fakhruddin, why are you smiling? Why are you smiling, Rajshekharan?
Yeah, it's smiling because you know, the investigative agencies, these three central agencies are investigating for the last 2 years, but no breakthrough. And now they are depending on this person, this person.
Tell me one corruption charge that was proven in 2 years. No, Fakhruddin, tell me one corruption charge against any chief minister in the entire country which was proven in 2 years.
It is a concerted effort by the 3 important central agencies. Why can't they prove it? Why can't they prove it? Because it's the gold actually smuggled through airport. Airport is under the central government. Okay.
No, what are the bags of cash for? Sorry, Fakhruddin, I will still ask you. 1 minute. Fakhruddin, I will still ask you. Fakhruddin. Okay, no. Fakhruddin, what are the bags of cash for? What is inside the bags?
See, Arnab.
No, what is inside the biryani vessels?
What kind of corroborative evidence do you have to prove that this is currency? There was something called biryani, which was a biryani vessel. There is no corroborative evidence. You have only the words of that tainted person. She was contradicting herself.
Ramesh Chenitala is also with us now.
Don't you think this was
Ramesh Chenitala will say so.
Ramesh Chenitala has joined the debate.
He was the opposition leader.
Ramesh Chenitala has joined the debate. You ask him in the middle. We have Ramesh Chenitala, senior Congress leader. Good to see you, Mr. Chenitala. This controversy is becoming really big. Mr. Chenitala, right in the middle. 1 minute. Mr. Chenitala, hi, Arnab here. One second, everyone quiet, please. Mr. Chenitala, you can hear me, Arnab here.
Yes, I can hear you.
Big controversy going on, and the BJP is being asked, why have you suddenly come up with this issue after 2 years, right? And you seem to have questions with the BJP as well. I mean, I'm not understanding one fundamental point, Mr. Chenitala. If there is such a major controversy, why does this controversy come and go? There's never any conclusion to this.
Yeah, that is because there was an understanding between CPM and BJP in Kerala.
What do you mean?
They doesn't want the Congress should come to power.
Absolutely
They were
not.
hand in glove with
Absolutely
that.
not.
Because the entire...
Absolutely not.
Let him speak. Let Mr. Chenitala speak. Let Mr. Chenitala speak. Let Mr. Chenitala speak. Mr. Chenitala, continue. Everyone on.
The investigating agencies were aware of all these facts. Swapna Suresh was mentioned all these facts to the investigating agencies. ED, Customs, all these two agencies were inquiring into the gold smuggling case. But unfortunately, because the election was very near and they want that Congress-led UDF should not come back to power. That is why the BJP and CPM was hand in glove and the entire investigation process has been scuttled. That is why the truth has not come. 3 years, the investigation agencies has not booked anybody. This is a very serious revelations were given by the Swapna Suresh, who is the kingpin of the gold smuggling case. She has already given all these information to the ED and Customs. I wonder why the investigating agencies were not inquired about this. Why they shielded the Chief Minister. Why they had not interrogated the Chief Minister and his kith and kin in this case. These are all suspicion. And that is why she has gone to the court and given the statement under 164. Now, the state government of Kerala is in a vindictive mood and they are taking one of her aide into custody. And a case has been registered against her because she has leveled allegations against the Chief Minister. You look at how the democracy is functioning in the state of Kerala ruled by the CPM. So, I am demanding an impartial inquiry on the whole episode.
1 minute. Mr. Chenitala. Chenitala.
Yes.
Sorry, I lost your video there. Can you fix your video once again? We lost your video. You're back
Yes,
there.
sir.
You're back there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Chenitala, your old friend Tom Vadakan is here on the program, and he's been shaking his head while you were speaking. Now, viewers, just understand and comprehend what's going on. Savio, as a journalist, we are getting confused here. The Congress, a very senior Congress leader, Ramesh Chenitala, on the program is saying that the BJP conspired with the left BJP conspired with the left the BJP conspired with the left
I don't think Kerala Congress
to keep the Congress out of power. Allow me to complete. To keep the Congress out of power. So this allegation is that the BJP hates the Congress so much in Kerala and elsewhere that it even got into an understanding with the left to protect Pinarayi Vijayan. Savio, this is getting incredible now, all these allegations.
I think the Kerala Congress needs to go back
the
to the
allegations and the
Congress
counter
committee,
allegations by the politicians,
and then come into the national
by the
debate.
politicians continues to be entertainment. But the most important thing for us to understand in these entire accusations made against the Chief Minister and this particular case was the involvement of the UAE consulate in this entire episode. So this transaction becomes very important to understand to what extent has corruption penetrated through the Kerala government even in an international consulate. That's where it's important. The fact that money was caught, bags of cash were caught, were allegations leveled. But if those allegations are true and the involvement of a foreign consulate in UAE, which is a stronghold because a lot of Keralites are there in UAE, that's completely anti-national in its approach, and that's why this case becomes far more important because a consulate is involved. That's why NIA got into it. So is this a route that is also being used for other activities where a consulate in an Islamic country? We don't know. So it's not the telltale antiques of entertainment or vendetta politics. There's a serious national security
Savio,
issue here
he says,
if the allegations are true.
No, he says, Chenitala says that the BJP, so the central agencies had evidence against Pinarayi Vijayan, but they did not use it because they would rather Pinarayi Vijayan come back to power than the Congress. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Chenitala?
Yes, definitely, because whenever they got informations, they had acted 3 years. Why the central agencies were not acted on the gold smuggling case, which is one of the anti-national episode which happened in Kerala. Why they had not come to any conclusion?
Okay, so here's
why they forgotten with the chief minister?
This point, therefore.
Why couldn't you convince the people of Kerala?
Mr. Fakhruddin Ali is responding. Fakhruddin Ali, ask your question. Ask your question to Mr. Chenitala, please. That's Fakhruddin Ali from Kozhikode is asking a question to you. Yes, go on.
Ramesh, why couldn't you convince the people of Kerala in the last assembly election about what you have said? And in Kerala, we have the history. BJP leaders like Maharajji actually admitted the fact that they sold the vote to Congress in 90s. It is not with the Communist Party or CPM or LDF, but BJP leaders like Maharajji admitted the fact that they sold vote to Congress, not to the Communist Party.
Mr. Ali, in the last election, 69 seats, BJP votes were decreased and it has gone to the CPM because they want the Congress Mukta Bharat. Congress Mukta Bharat.
In different places.
Let him complete. Yeah, Mr. Chenitala completes. 1 minute. Fakhruddin, wait a minute. Mr. Chenitala complete. No.
So in the last election, Mr. Fakhruddin, you are aware that in 69 constituencies, the BJP doesn't have votes and they decreased their votes and it has been transferred to the CPM. They want the Congress Mukta Bharat.
Okay. Okay. Now Tom Vadakar. Tom, now my next question, Tom Vadakar. Tom Vadakar did a press conference today attacking Ramesh Chenitala. 1 second. 1 minute. Can I have the 6 windows back, please? Thank you. And Tom, here is one point. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan's principal secretary was arrested and was questioned in the gold scam case. Right? The ED charge sheet mentions Vijayan being aware of Swapna Suresh's appointment. Was there a go slow?
Arnab,
did you have, no, my point is, did you have all the evidence and decide not to do anything for political reasons?
Absolutely not. We are on the work, it's a work in progress.
No, you respond to Mr. Chenitala directly.
Yeah, I'm telling him. Investigation is not like you pick up a hat and pull out a rabbit. This is not a banana republic. Investigation happens with thorough proof evidence, which the agencies are working on. In the meanwhile, if the lady has come into public domain and has said what she has said, that will certainly also open up investigation. But when investigation was at the heat, what happened? The Congress did not say a word. Right, the privilege of the CBI and ED or cases were filed against them. Officers were threatened. Nobody talks about it. Agency can only function if the state cooperates. If the state does not cooperate, it's impossible for any agency. You may call FBI also. It cannot be done. You have been the Home Minister, Mr. Chenitala, and you don't know that if there is no cooperation from the state, how can you investigate? You did not open your mouth at that juncture. My charge against is, why are you silent? You were silent at that time when an investigation agency's privileges are withdrawn, when the whole question of federal structure comes into question, you were maintaining radio silence. My charge against you is that why were you silent? You are the leader of the opposition. You could have gone to the investigating agencies. You say you have known a lot of facts. Why didn't you take it to the investigating agencies and help them to do the operation? But you did not say a word. Why, Mr. Chenitala? Why? These questions are in the people's mind. And when you say votes are being sold This is not a shop where you can buy votes. You can sell votes in a gated community. But on a large scale, if you think votes are being sold, you create a perception, but it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. In a gated colony, you can influence votes, but across the state, if you claim that their votes were sold, it's unfortunate. Every time you lose, you will say that votes were sold by BJP to defeat you. Why don't you check and your own conscience? What is happening in your party? You are yourself upset. You know that, and talk according to your conscience. You know what's happening in your party. Let us speak frankly. What is happening there is sad. But let me tell you, we are on the same page. We want an investigation. We want it to be successful. But do support us when the investigation is sabotaged. Today you had a meeting, not you. The cabinet meeting was called for Mohandas Commission. And why was it? So that no parallel investigation could be initiated. Mr. Ramesh Chennittala, I have great respect for you. But you can raise these questions. These are questions that are in public domain and that needs answers.
Already, Mr. Vadakan, already the state government, the Honorable High Court of Kerala has stayed the entire proceedings of the Mohandas Commission. So there is no need to talk to about that. Even if they had given an extension to that commission, it will nothing to do with that. Number one. Number two, the investigating agencies were not done their job. When in the last election, before starting the election process, the Chief Minister of Kerala has written a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister. I can clearly say that after that, the investigating agencies were in a slow mood. They had not further investigated anything.
Mr. Ramesh Chennittala, I differ with you.
No,
I
please,
differ with you.
Let me complete. 3 years are gone. What the investigating agency has done? You can take any other cases. You take about the Chidambaram's case. You take about so many other cases. The ED was so vehemently doing the things which you wanted. You are using these investigating agencies.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ramesh Chennittala, you are the Home Minister.
Political advantage.
You are the Home Minister of that state. We never heard you complain
please, let
about
me complete.
Investigating agencies.
No, it's not correct.
I never disturbed you.
I never disturbed you.
What is this new discovery?
Mr. Vadakan.
I am not disturbing you.
You should have a patience to hear me. I was hearing you. You should have a patience to hear me. So, last 3 years, what these investigating agencies were doing, whether they questioned the Chief Minister, whether they questioned the Principal Secretary, whether they questioned any of the kith and kin of Chief Minister, this is a anti-national activities taken by the help of the Chief Ministers and his office. Why ED was silent? Why the CBI was silent? Why the customs was silent? They had booked some of the small fries. They had not taken any action on the sharks. That is my question. There lies the clear hand in glove with the BJP and CPM.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I'd say, Mr. Chennittala, I go to Mr.
You are mentioning about the vote transferring. Look at the arithmetic. You can see very well. BJP didn't get any seat in Kerala. That you forget. Even and tomorrow also they will not get any seats in Kerala.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Mr. Vadakan also knows it very well. Vadakan also knows it. He's a good friend of mine. He also knows about that. But why the BJP in 69 seats, why their votes were decreased? We need an answer from Mr. Vadakan about that.
Well, that's a political angle. That's a political angle. I'll go to the investigation. All I'd say is Mr. Rajshekharan has been quiet listening on to this, hasn't spoken once. I think can one wrap this up in 2 or 3 months? And I'm told that Swapna Suresh may come up with another set of allegations this weekend. That's what we are hearing now. That this is going to be some serialized series of revelations she's going to have.
This is only the tip of the iceberg. she is coming with more revelations.
How do you know?
As per the reports.
How do you know? How do you know?
Because she has already told in the press in Kerala that this is only the tip of the iceberg. More details will come, and see how a government is functioning. They had taken one of her heads without any notice, without anything, and he has been taken away by the vigilance.
So if this is the tip of the iceberg, in that case, my question will be, Mr. Rajshekharan, better Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan quits. Because it is going to get more and more embarrassing for him if more hard evidence comes out.
Arnab, we are debating about an accused who was involved in smuggling of gold and cash. And she is not a saint. She is an accused. And it's most unfortunate, an accused decides the fate of political parties' victory in the state of Kerala by undermining the wisdom of the citizens of Kerala. This is very sad. How can a gold scam decide the fate of any party to win elections and lose elections? It's ridiculous. And the people of Kerala are the most literate people, and they know whom to vote and whom not to vote. So in this case, it is very interesting. An accused dictates terms and calls everybody by names and says she is going to reveal this and reveal that. And finally, everybody says she is a saint and whatever she says is gospel truth. And it's really, I mean, I'm wondering what is happening in Kerala and how this can happen. And the Chief Minister claims he is honest. And BJP says...
Yeah, Mr. Chandala.
When Ummanjandi was the Chief Minister, was the Sarida case, you people already made it a big issue. Why don't you... Nobody spoke on that.
Fakhruddin.
He was not a saint. Sarida was not a saint. But it was made a big issue in the state. You remember that?
There was a problem in Sarida issue. In Sarida issue, there was a Congress leader from Pathanamthitta. He was, I think, your DCC member. He actually connected Chief Minister Ummanjandi's name.
No.
She
was not a saint.
Yeah,
she was Mr. Ali. She was not a saint.
So,
that issue was been raised by you people. You people
no,
and you agitated against
this
the government.
Case was not raised by LDF people.
Mr. Rajshekharan was telling about
Congress
that.
activist,
That is
Congress
not correct.
local leader from
That is not
Pathanamthitta,
correct.
who connected our then Honorable Chief Minister Ummanjandi sir to the case. Later on, LDF has opposition party. We ended it as before. That's true.
Okay, so we're keeping close watch on this. We believe there could be more. I mean, there is this news doing the rounds that Swapna Suresh will come up with another set of revelations on Saturday. Let's see.